Hey guys, so today we are going to be talking about 30 lessons I learned technically before turning 30. I'm turning 30 on Wednesday. When you guys see this, I probably will already have had my birthday, but I wanted to share 30 things that I have learned. And I don't know how long this video is going to be, but let's have some fun and chat. Also, I will add that something that was really important for me going into my 30th birthday was to make sure that I went in as healthy and happy and joyful and as fulfilled as possible. And I'm so grateful to be able to say that I am. So often, I used to hear so many horror stories and people that were turning 30, and they would just be like, oh my God, I wasn't ready. I'm not prepared. Like, my body's not how I want. My money's not how I want. Nothing is the way that I wanted it to be at 30. And so I worked really hard, but not literally worked hard, but you guys know what I mean. Like, I put a lot of energy into making sure that I went into my 30th year feeling good. Does that mean that I necessarily have everything that I want? No, not completely, but it means that I still feel very fulfilled and I'm happy and grateful. And I just feel like I'm going into 30 better than ever, which was what I wanted. So, all right, let's get into it. Number one, and I actually have a video on this, so I'm going to try to tag the videos for any of these ones that I talk about. Messy action is better than no action. You have to move for things to move. And you have to experience that contrast to know whether it's something that you do want or you don't want. When I graduated high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was good at math and I was good at science. So I went to engineering school. And was engineering school what I really wanted to do? No. And I even knew it, but I knew that some action was better than no action. And I learned so much by going to college and studying engineering that helped prepare me for where I am now. And I'm so glad that I just took action anyway and did something anyway, even though I wasn't quite sure where I was really going or what I was really doing. Number two, traveling, even if it's just outside your state, will level you up. It makes you more worldly and aware of just how big this world is. So, after my freshman year of college, I went to Europe for about 22 days and I went all around Europe. I went to like 12 different countries. And that was like my first time traveling outside of the country, really. And I learned so much and realized how if you just kind of stay in your hometown or you stay in your city, it puts you in a bubble and it really limits your thinking and it limits the way that you think about life in general because you think things are just so limited to this little city that you live in or this state that you live in or hell even this country that you live in, and it's not. There's so many other different experiences. Like, I remember that I wasn't even 21 yet, and so everybody in Europe and there's people from Australia, they could already drink. So this is my first time really even being able to just get a drink, but everybody there had so many different lives and they were, I hate to say it, but normal people. And when I was growing up, I feel like there was always this kind of stigma um around people outside of the US, and it was always just like they not like us, like, US, we be so proud, like, ooh. And then I go to these other places and I'm like, these places are amazing, these people are amazing. America is not like just this end all be all. Like, nobody's better than America. America's the best at everything. And that's just not true. And so every time I travel, I just level up my thinking, I expand, and I get to experience new things. All right, number three, you can't live for anyone else but yourself. It seems honorable, but in reality, the only thing you're doing is dishonoring yourself. When I was deciding to leave my engineering job, I was so stressed out and so worried. I was meditating like up to 5 hours a day, trying to find some peace because I felt like I was letting my family down and I was dishonoring my family, but I was so unhappy. And eventually got to the point where I finally realized, like, okay, either you can continue to live your life for other people and be miserable, or you can just do what makes you happy because you're the one who's living it. You're the one who has to get up every day and do this stuff that you absolutely hate and makes you feel terrible. So, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Do you always want to always live for other people or for your family because you think it's so honorable? Or do you want to live in your truth and live in what brings you joy and honor yourself? And I obviously chose to honor myself. And honestly, my family, I feel like everybody grew from that, and everybody actually started even honoring themselves more and stepping more into what they really wanted and desired and felt good to them. And it just empowers everybody else. When you stand up authentically in who you are and allow yourself to be yourself, you empower other people to do the same. Number 4, there's no award for who struggled the most. So don't think suffering makes you more noble than the next person. I think I kind of grew up around people that valued struggle in a sense, like struggle was a badge of honor. And I also think religion contributes to this notion that if you struggled, if you suffer, that you are more deserving or you are worthy, more worthy of certain things. And that's just not true. There's no reward for suffering. And also, I grew up middle class, upper middle class family. And so I never really wanted for much. And everybody knew that I was spoiled, and sometimes people would like make fun of me, or they'd be like, I'm so glad that I got to struggle for things, or like, well, I never had to deal with that because my family, da 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 da. And it made me feel like, okay, like, should I feel bad because I'm blessed? Like, should I, what does that mean? But no, you shouldn't feel bad when things are easy for you. And that was also a limiting belief that I had to break, because obviously I want to make money easily. I don't want to have to work super hard for everything and suffer for everything in life. So I had to shift that belief that made me think that because when things were easy, that it was automatically a bad thing. And that's just not true. I'm grateful for all the ways that I've had a leg up or that things were easier for me, because they helped make me into the person that I am. I am a unique expression of God, and all of us are. And so our unique journeys, our unique perceptions, our relationships, our experiences, our backgrounds, how we grew up, it makes us exactly who we are. And so I'm grateful for that. Let those things strengthen you so that you can really step into who you are. And when you really step into who you are and utilize all the tools and resources that God has given you and is giving you, then you are further able to lift other people up. Number 5, your desires aren't wrong, and don't let anybody make you feel bad for them. So I know for me that I love nice things. I like luxury. I like fine dining. I love craft cocktails. I love looking good. I love expensive dresses and expensive purses. And that's just who I am. That's what I like. That's what I like to do. And no one's going to make me feel bad for it. My belief is that if nobody's getting hurt, then why does it even matter what somebody else enjoys or like to do? Like the people who like to, what immediately comes to mind are the people who like to dress up in the fur costumes or whatever, like the furries. Okay, yeah. I mean, are they hurting anybody? No. So let them be furry. Like, it doesn't matter what somebody desires as long as they're not hurting anybody or themselves. And I know I used to date people who would kind of have an issue with the life that I wanted to have. And I'm like, well, I want this. I want a maid. I want a night nanny. I want a big ass house. I want a big ass rock. I want a nice wedding in Italy. Like all these things that I desire. And people would try to make me feel bad for them. Or I want a husband who is a provider. I want a husband that's nice. They're like, you want all that? I'm like, yeah. And I can have it. And I can have it. And so don't let anybody make you feel bad for the things that you desire. As long as you are willing to do the energetic mindset work to receive those things, like you're not hurting anybody, it doesn't matter. You can't make me feel bad for liking nice stuff. I'm sorry. It's just not gonna fly. Number 6, at any point in time, you can decide to be a completely different person. Do you know how many times I have had a new era? Like basically every year and a half, I have a completely new era. And that's all it takes. After switching from engineering to being a content creator, influencer, like you could do anything. You could completely switch it up. Like there's no limits to starting your new era. When you are ready to become a completely different person, like have a whole new era, switch everything else, switch up your career, where you live, all that jazz, like you have to design that new life. Literally write it out. Write down exactly who that person is. Where does she live? Where does she work? Where does she go to coffee, for coffee? Where does she work out? Everything. Get into the details and then start becoming that person today. Start moving into that person today, but understand that when you're stepping into a new era, it's new energy. It's exciting. You get to be a completely different person. And only because I transitioned from being an engineer to a content creator slash influencer am I able to say like, yeah, you could be a completely different person. Because if you saw me 6 years ago, you will be like, oh, okay. Or even 6 years ago, a lot of people, when I told them what I wanted to do, they were like, I don't know about that. And it was like, I can do whatever the hell I want to do. Number 7, when people show you who they are, believe them. I had made a couple of new friends, and one thing that I noticed this, but I didn't like really understand what that meant. When you're picking up on little random things about people when you're meeting new people, understand that it's for a reason. So this person, literally, as soon as I met them, they were like, yeah, so and so is my best friend, but like, she's always dressing so bad. Like she just dressed so cheap and like just literally completely like poo-pooing on her best friend to meet a new person that she just met. And I kind of was like, okay, but I didn't really take it for what it is and realize how toxic that is and how that's not the kind of friendships that I want to be having and cultivating. You just have to believe people when they show you who they are right away. Number 8. You have to forgive everyone and release resentment to make more space in your life for good. And this one was really hard for me because I was really struggling with forgiveness for my dad. And there's a lot of things that I just wasn't pleased with, I guess. And I just held a lot of resentment towards him. And I didn't really, people have been telling me like that you need to like release it, forgive him, release it, truly forgive him. And I was like, I've forgiven him enough, but I think the fact that there was still that negative energy, it wasn't truly like zero. And this is actually something I probably should have talked about, but if you don't feel net zero about something, like if you're feeling way too um negative about a thing, like you're feeling like, oh, like this is so disgusting or this is so bad, or you're feeling like, whoa, this thing is amazing and you're putting it on a pedestal, you don't want to be on either ends of the stick with really anything. You want to be more neutral. You want to be more ambivalent. I think that's the right word. And I realized that I wasn't really close to net neutral with me and my dad. Even if I truly had forgiven him, there was still like some negative energy, some resentment lingering there. And that was impacting my relationship with men, dating. And I realized that when you have that unresolved resentment towards somebody, and then you have interactions with anybody else, whether it be I'm dating other men or if it's something else that somebody else did to me, that resentment will carry over into those conversations and into those interactions. And so I forgave my dad truly and released resentment just like in the past year and a half. And it's made so much more space in my heart for love and for connection. And also, it's helped me realize some of my habits that I had when it came to dating because I really was channeling that resentment that I had for my father. So, if you have any resentment, if you have anybody that you have not forgiven, forgive them. You don't even have to talk to them to forgive them, but it's something that you need to do for yourself. And you can pray and ask God to help move you, move through that resentment and really process that and forgive people. But it's really helpful when you do that because then you stop playing out that story with other people. Number 9, you can learn life lessons the easy way or the hard way. I had a friend and he would always say, I don't learn the lesson until it's too late. And I told him, I was like, that's a bad saying. And over the course of our friendship over a couple of years, he was like, yeah, that actually is a bad thing. I should stop saying that. But what I notice is that we as humans like drama. We like the extraness. Like we love it. Like that's just a part of the human experience is the drama, is the, oh. And so oftentimes we notice when things are not right, they're not aligned, it's not for our highest good, and it'll be a soft nudge, right? God starts by giving us a little softer nudge. And then we may be like, well, it's not that big of a problem, so it's fine. And you'll let that little problem linger. And then God will keep pushing you. And then it'll get a little louder. It'll get a little bigger. It'll get a little bigger until then all of a sudden now you get popped in the face and you got to learn the lesson the hard way. And with a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak. And when you could have just chose to shift out of that or choose something different when it was a small problem. We wait till our problems get so big and then we're like, oh God, oh my gosh, oh my God. And it's like, girl, you had addressed this 8 months ago when you first saw the problem, the small problem. It wouldn't, we wouldn't be here. And so now I try to learn the lesson and make the adjustment sooner when I see the things. I remember I was talking to my best friend about this the other day. I was like, do you remember when I said that I used to have a shopping addiction, y'all? I was like, do you remember when I said I wasn't going to stop shopping until I went broke? God said, oh, that's the only way you want to learn that lesson? Okay. Say less. And now I'm like, never again. Never, never, never again. All right, number 10. Your life is only as good as your relationship to everything in it. So that's your money, your family, your friends, your health, your diet, your love life, your spirituality, and yourself. Your relationship to those things will determine how good your life is, which is why I like doing the life wheel. And I'll probably be doing a video about that soon with where I kind of talk about that. But basically, how you are navigating your relationships, how you feel towards those things in your life. Are you happy with money? Are you mad at money? Are you frustrated with money? Do you not trust money? That's going to impact how you feel and how your life is. With your health, do you feel good in your body? Do you feel bad in your body? Do you feel insecure in your body? Do you feel like you're always sick? Do you feel like you could rely on your body? Your friendships or your family relationships. Do you love your family? Do you feel like you have a good connection with your family right now? Are you talking to them? Are you seeing each other enough? Are you having quality time? Like your relationship to everything in your life, that is what determines your happiness. And so I also was at this point where I was really only focusing on how I didn't have money. And it made me feel bad about everything else in my life. And it made me overlook all the good in my life because I was so focused on this one area that wasn't going right that I didn't see all these other areas that were amazing. I was like, oh, the only thing that I don't like in my life is money? Wow. Literally 12 other areas, I'm thriving. I'm happy. So let me focus on all these other 12 areas that are thriving while I have no money, be it, which was like the mind blowing thing. I'm like, bro, you say you need money to do all these things, but look how happy you are and blessed you are in these other areas of life while not having money. So yeah, your life is only as good as your relationship to everything in it. Number 11, if you're not taking risks, if you're not really ever scared by the things that you're doing, you're not pushing yourself enough. And I don't mean like dangerous things. I'm just talking about like sending that email to Meg the Stallion's team to see about working together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about those things where you're just pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, like launching that business that you've been talking about, putting up your coaching call offer, posting on social media, even though it scares you. Any of those things that scare you that you know is literally not an actual threat. Doing those things, if you're not doing them, if you're not taking risks, if you're not doing things that you haven't done before, pushing your imagination, pushing your limits, you're playing it small and you're playing it safe. Number 12, if you have to communicate your boundaries to somebody, they've already crossed it. Boundaries are not something that you have to tell somebody every single time that it like comes up. Boundaries are expressed in your energy first. So I know that a lot of like there's certain things that people may come to some of my friends for, but they would never come to me with that BS because they just know energetically, they can tell energetically that that is just not something that I would do. And I remember one of my friends, she was like, they never call you about this kind of stuff. Like they never come to you with this stuff. And I said, yeah, because they know I don't play. Like my energy just doesn't give that. My energy never gives that I'm somebody where you could cross my boundaries and think that you are still going to be in my life or that it's going to be okay. And so when somebody does cross my boundaries, I'm like, okay. Clearly there's some misalignment here with me. Radical self accountability to where you thought that that was cool. And if I have to tell you my boundary, like I said, my boundaries have already been crossed. Number 13, get more comfortable receiving so that you can receive more from God. Every time you ask God for something, it's going to come through technically somebody else. Like somebody else is going to have to do something for you to receive it. Whether it's a $50,000 check, somebody has to write that check. Somebody has to put it in the mail. The post office, the mail lady has to bring that to your door. There are always other people involved in you getting the things that you are asking to receive. So when you receive something small, like someone says, let me get your coffee for you, or let me pay for this dinner for you, or here, I picked this up for you, and you're like, no, no, I can't. You are blocking what God is trying to give you, what He is trying to let you receive. And when you do that, you start cutting off the avenues for you to receive all the other things that you have asked for. And that was crazy to me when I thought about it. I was like, oh my God, that's so true. No matter what you are receiving, another human being, another person is going to be involved in it at some level. Like he's going to put the idea in their head to give you the free coffee. He's going to put the idea in their head to hire you for this project, whatever it is. But other people are always involved. So when those little things come through people that they want to give you, even if it's a compliment, receive it, fully receive it. Don't ever turn down something that somebody is giving to you. No, use your discernment. But yeah, for the most part, it's our own insecurities, it's our own feeling like we're not worthy, it's us lacking self love that makes us think that sometimes maybe we shouldn't be receiving the things that people want to give us. Number 14, you should have 3 hobbies: one that makes you happy, one that keeps you in shape, and one that makes you money. And I love this saying, and I don't think it literally has to be split out exactly like this because for me, my career kind of overlaps with my hobbies that make me happy. But I think that hobbies are a really good way to start getting into who you really are. When I didn't know what I wanted when I was in engineering, I started picking up hobbies when I got my full time job. And that's how I realized that I liked photography. That's how I realized I liked social media. I started roller skating, and then I realized that that was a way for me to express myself as well. And I learned who I was through my hobbies. And it's also really great when you have at least one hobby that you get to move your body. And for me, that was roller skating. I also like going to Pilates, but I consider that literally just like my exercise routine. But my hobby, my active hobby, is roller skating. And I do love roller skating. So find those hobbies because those are things you're going to be able to do for the rest of your life. And they're going to pour into you so much. Like something that's fun and you move, like that's great. So for me, one of my hobbies that's for fun is photography. And one of my friends came to me and asked me to take her photos for her pregnancy photos. And I did because like I love her. It was fun and I got paid and it was just fun to do and it filled me up. So having hobbies like that is always great and you can do little things for your loved ones. It's a good way to give to them and to yourself. Number 15. Your partner is one of the most important decisions you'll make, if not the most important decision you'll make. And I know we have all heard this, but it is not a joke. It's just not a joke. You have to really know what you want and get very specific and make that love list. And I'm talking details. Like you have to get so specific on who you want that person to be. And the values really have to align. Otherwise, things can get very shaky because I think if values are aligned, you can work through most things in a relationship. But if the values are not there, it's going to be very hard when things get tough because you don't navigate life the same way and you don't value the same things when it comes to the relationship or living your life. And I've learned this firsthand as somebody that's very creative, imaginative, and also very sensitive. I have a 7th house Pisces and it's my Saturn is there. And so in my relationships, I need people that are deeply understanding and nurturing and compassionate and respect my creativity in the way I navigate life. So that's really important to me. Number 16, if you cannot manage the non-romantic relationships in your life, I'm talking your friends, your family, you don't have no friends, you don't have no family, you don't have no community, then you probably are not ready for marriage because you don't have any relationship skills. You can't even manage a friendship. You can't even maintain a friendship. And this was one where I was like, dang, because I've kind of always been somebody that never had a lot of relationships because, like I said, 7th house Pisces, yeah, with my Saturn there. And it's made it, relationships have oftentimes felt to me like a chore. They've often felt like work. They did not feel enjoyable. They did not feel like fun. It always just felt like something I had to manage and navigate and deal with and address and all these things I did not like. But then as I was like, okay, I'm ready for marriage, I realized that all these other relationships in my life, my family, my friends, um, my community, even my work friends, my professional friends, if I can't manage those connections, I can't maintain those connections and work through things with them, how am I ever going to be able to do that with my partner? So I think that's really important is getting better with the relationships that you have right now as you are calling in your romantic partner. Number 17, thoughts create our reality, and where our attention goes, energy flows. And this was something that I did not learn until I was until when did I learn this? I learned this when I left my engineering job and I was starting to really step into spirituality and just learn more about mindset and how important it was. And I was like, oh my God, I did not know that our thoughts create our reality to that extent. Like I had heard it vaguely in church, but I just didn't realize how serious it was. And I started to get really mindful of the thoughts that I was having. And I noticed the thoughts of a lot of the people around me. And I was like, oh my God, I see why we have been creating this reality. Like, I see why everybody around me hates their life. Like, because the thoughts that you guys are thinking, the things that you are saying, the beliefs that you have, the fears, the doubts, the worries, like, this is what you're creating. And when I shifted that, that was also what helped me to even leave my engineering job and have that confidence was thinking better feeling thoughts and thinking like, why not me instead of why me? How could it be me? Number 18, you cannot control anything or anyone outside of yourself. So there's no reason to allow outside people or things to affect your emotions because we have to really care how we feel. When you are feeling bad, you are going to start thinking more negative thoughts. And when you start thinking more negative thoughts, you're going to start creating a more negative reality, experiences that you don't want to have because you are feeling low. And when you allow other people to affect your emotions, you are giving them the power over you. You are letting them control you. And that is kind of like what it's not what reality wants. I wouldn't even say that's what reality wants, but it's just one of the laws and the rules of this universe is that what you focus on, good or bad, is what you get more of. And when you are not empowered and knowing that you are the creator of your own reality and your experience, and you have complete and total control over your emotions, you allow other people and other things to move you, and they will. Number 19, when you invest in yourself, you will see a compound leveling up in every area of your life. When I took an online class and it was about money and it helped my relationship with money, but I also realized how it helped my relationship with my relationships. And vice versa when I took a class about dating. And so when you invest in yourself, whatever it is, it levels up every area of your life. Even going to college, there I was there to learn engineering school, but I also learned about discipline. And I also learned so many things of just networking skills and talking to people and social skills. So when you invest in yourself in whatever way to learn something, it's going to level up every area. Number 20, working more or harder does not always equate to more money because think about the people who like work in a factory and they're working 70-hour weeks and they're doing really hard labor lifting stuff and then think of like the CEO of that company, right? And that's not to say the CEOs don't do work or they don't work hard, but it's not a universal truth that you have to work harder or work more hours to see more money because there's not that one-to-one correlation. It's just not. And when you really want to start making a lot more money, you have to figure out the energetics of money and your relationship with money. It's really about thinking smarter and not harder when you're trying to make more money. And I think I'm going to actually do a separate video on what I've learned about money because I could do a whole nother video on that. All right, number 21. We procrastinate for a reason. Dig into it. So when we procrastinate, it's not just because we're lazy. It's not because we're lazy at all, really, to me, for me at least. I know this. When we procrastinate, we are procrastinating because there is something not in alignment with whatever task we are trying to do. Maybe it's because there's a better time to do it. Maybe if we wait till tomorrow, we can get a better deal and our inner being knows this. Or maybe it's because this is a problem that could work itself out if you just give it some time. Or maybe it's because you've just forgotten your motivation and you do need to re-encourage yourself to do it. But there's multiple different reasons. I also did a video on this, so I'll tag that. Number 22, shame is a realignment mechanism. It's not something that you need to feel for an extended period of time. It's not something you need to carry with you at all times. Shame is just something you should feel for maybe 15 seconds and then you move on. You feel the shame because the shame tells you this is not in alignment with who I truly am. And then it's like, okay, I see that. I recognize that. Now let's shift and move differently. And then that's it. Then you go about your day. It's not something that you need to be sitting in for days or weeks or months. I also have a video on shame and I will tag that. Number 23, everyone and everything is just a mirror of you. As above, so below. So really, this is your world. This is your world, and we are all just living in it. Just like this is my world, and you all are living in it. And so everything that I experience is something that I have created from my feelings, from my thoughts, from what's going on internally inside of me. And so when people come up to me and I have a certain interaction with them, what I'm getting is because of who I am and how I feel on the inside. You know how somebody can say, like, oh my God, when she's with me, like she's so mean all the time, or like she's always lying every time and someone else can be like, oh my God, no, she's so nice every time I meet her. Like it's always a pleasant experience that I have with her. Yeah, because we bring certain things out of different people based off of who we are. And also, I think about how when I was leaving my engineering job, that I waited until I was really confident in it because people can sense when you're not confident in something or when you're not sure, and they're going to mirror that back to you. And so a lot of people, when I told them I was leaving my engineering job, they were like, okay, like, yeah, for sure. Because they could tell, they didn't even know subconsciously, though, they could tell that I was confident in this and I was sure of this decision. And of course, there were a few people who didn't completely agree right away. And there was also parts of me that also was worried and fearful. And I knew that that was just a mirror of what was going on inside of me. Okay, number 24. Money is just energy. It's nothing to be afraid of, it's not inherently evil. Money is just energy. I would recommend reading as many books as you can about money so that you can figure out how you can improve your relationship with money, and also how your beliefs around money, whether you believe having money is bad, or if I have money, everybody's going to want some, or like if I have money, I'm going to do bad things with the money. Going to be talking to me. It's going to be telling me to, just do things, or like whatever you think it is. You have to get rid of those limiting beliefs and recognize that money is just an energy. It's not like this thing that even needs to be put on a pedestal. It's not something that we should look in super high regard. It's just an energy. And so my relationship with money, I call her treasure. And we just have a good time. Like I think about it as like a relationship that I have with everything else in my life. It's just a good time. We're here to co-create. We're here to have some fun. Money helps me to have experiences and to create the experiences that I want to have. And so we're just here having a good time together. All right, number 25. Stop yearning to get to the next place. You can't make the most of the present if you're always looking towards the future. And all we have is the now. And this was something that I struggled with a lot after leaving my engineering job. I just really wanted things to just pop. I was like ready for things to just hit. I'm like, okay, where's the $10,000 months? Where's the $20,000? Why am I not a millionaire? Like, where's the million followers? Like, all these things that I wanted to happen right now, but I couldn't even appreciate and recognize all the wins and experiences and the things that were happening right now in the present. And yeah, this was something that I really had to shift. And since I've shifted it, I've been so much happier and just not stressed. Like, I don't care anymore. And it's funny because things have actually been like, of course, now that I've detached from it, I've detached from expecting things or needing things to happen on my timing. Impatience is the ultimate sign that you trust God or the universe. If you are impatient, it's because you do not trust that you will get the things that you are asking for in perfect timing. All right, number 26. Start dressing for your body type. I'm talking colors, go get your colors done. I'm talking your body shape. I learned that I am an upside down triangle or a square. And so thin straps, they may not always look the best. Like I look good in a neckline like this. I look good in a, like just a scoop neck. I know that I shouldn't be doing the shoulder pads like that because I already have broad shoulders. And it's just things like that. Flare jeans look good on me. Knowing your body type and then dressing for your body type will really take your style to the next level, especially as, we're starting to get older. And that's not to say you can't do trends as you get older or anything like that, but it's time to start building that timeless wardrobe that really is tailored to you. And those girls, like, whatever their style is, they just look good in whatever they have on because they buy things that look good for their body. And it also helps because I know when I have my shopping problem, I would just be buying whatever because I'm like, oh, this is cute, this is trendy, this is cute, this is cute. But once I knew my colors and I knew the styles that look good on my body, I was able to make better choices and pieces that I always go to time and time again. All right, next, number 28. Get your diet and fitness on point. The later you start, the harder it is. This is a great long-term investment. Diet and fitness is really important for us in living this human experience. I know it's not always easy for us to want to move our body, but it's a part of being human, is getting a grasp and really being able to make the most of your physical vessel, of your physical body, and taking care of it. That is a part of the human experience, is the physical nature of it. And the later you start to try to figure out what's the right diet and the right fitness for you, the harder it's going to be. And it's not impossible, or I don't even really want to say like, oh, it's just so difficult. Don't do it if you're older or whatever age you are. But what I'm just saying is, it's only going to help you to start now. Just like when they say it's best to invest in your 401k today when you're 24 instead of when you're 50. And so it's like, that's kind of what it is. It's just going to compound. And the earlier you start, the better the habits you will have. And over time, you can continue to build on them. So I started caring about my diet and exercise when I was in high school. I was a little chubby, and a couple people had made some mean comments on Twitter calling me fat. And I was like, this is it. The last straw. That was the final straw. Bullying changed my life. Okay. Being bullied for my weight helped me change. And I started caring about my diet. I started a Tumblr diet page back in that time. It was like, yeah, you get on Tumblr and you can have like a literal like diet inspo page. And I did. I was taking my lunch every day. I was eating super clean. Like, I cut out pop. I cut out all the junk because I used to eat hot Cheetos in high school. And I would be working out twice a day because I had an aerobics class at school, and then I'd come home and do Pilates. And yeah, I just started caring about my diet then. And then I got to college, I fell off. So I just had a few cycles of where I was doing well and then I would fall off. But every time I got better and better at it, and I got more and more clear on what worked for me. And so by the time I was working at my engineering job, I knew, okay, I do well when I just go to a fitness class. I don't do well going to the gym on my own. It's hard for me to go. It's too much to think about. I feel motivated and good when I work out around other people because they inspire me to want to push myself harder. And also, okay, I am a Virgo rising, but first degree, so very close to Leo rising. And so I need to be looking good. I need to make sure I'm on point in class. I don't want to be the lazy one. So I know that workout classes are good for me. So that's an investment that I'm always willing to make. And then as far as diet, a lot of unhealthy things, I just don't even have them unless it's a holiday, or sometimes maybe on the weekends, but most of those things, rarely that. And I've just started to build habits over my life that are going to continue to compound long term for me through the rest of my life. And I know that as I continue to age, I still just continue to make better and better choices when it comes to my diet and fitness. Like I said, I haven't figured out, as long as I can afford my gym class. And listen, if you cannot afford to go to like an Orange Theory, a kickboxing class, Planet Fitness offers workout classes for their very basic membership. So I think I pay $9.99 a month, and there are classes Monday through Friday that I could go to when I was not able to afford Orange Theory or Pilates or whatever. And so if that is your excuse, there are always places and resources that can help you to get into the kind of fitness that you need to at a low cost or even for free. But figure that out now. Number 28. I hope I'm still right on the numbers, but that's okay. Stop trying to push, plan, and force things and see what happens when you just go with the flow. This was so hard for me because I was always a type A person. Okay, my mom is a Virgo, I'm a Virgo rising. My mom used to teach me a lot about the masculine and not as much about the feminine. And I went to engineering school, which was all forced because I didn't even want to be there. And so I was very good at pushing through and forcing things and planning things just to make things happen. And if that's the way you have to navigate life, it's going to be, you see my face because it's just, oh, even just thinking about it. If that's the way you have to navigate life, it's always going to be a challenge, and it's always going to be stressful, and it's just going to always be an uphill battle. It's always going to be another mountain. It's always going to be another hill to move. When if you can start learning how to relax and start going with the flow and just chill more and like, all right, I'm done pushing, I'm done forcing, and just see what happens, you'll see how much more magic happens. And I started doing this because, like I said, I was a type A and I was controlling and I wanted to see, make sure things were going my way. But when I just was like, well, let's just see what happens for a few weeks. Let's see what just happens for a month if I just sit back and relax. Let's see, will God take care of it? And He did. And so many amazing things happened. And I learned a lot um, in just being able to relax more. And I didn't have to do any of the heavy lifting. I didn't have to move the mountains. God moved them every time. All right, number 29. Intuition makes everything easier. And this one is kind of similar to the one before, but it's different because sometimes we get those nudges and they're like, oh, I thought I was just tripping. Like, when you build a really good relationship with your intuition, everything becomes easier because you'll stop taking so many actions. You'll stop taking so many steps. You'll stop having to do so much because your intuition will show you the path of least resistance for everything. And you'll just take inspired action. And this was my goal, I think, 2 years ago when I said I wanted to work less and make more. And an important part of working less and making more money is taking inspired action. It's taking action when you are led to take action, not just taking action because you have to or you're trying to force things, but when you take that aligned action because you feel inspired or you feel like you're being pushed or nudged to do something, and everything will be so much easier. I would suggest this is what I did. I'm a generator, and they say for generators, I think with the gut response, it might just be all generators. I don't know, but you could try it anyway. Is I just started asking myself for stupid things like, do you want pizza? Mm-mm, or mm-hmm. And because of my human design chart, I will naturally make a sound where I'll be like, mm-hmm, or I'll be like, mm-mm. And I started doing that for everything. And so I know for like a year, literally, people would see me. Stupidest choice. Do you want the do you want the tequila or do you want the gin? I was like, or just to start getting more in tune with my body and what I wanted. And I would recommend you do the same, just for the very mundane things. Do you want steak for dinner? Do you want shrimp for dinner? Do you want pizza for dinner? Whatever. Just start doing that. Start practicing listening to your intuition. And at first I noticed there were some things where I was like, really? That's how you feel? And I realized how I was masking sometimes and pushing things down when I was pushing things down about how I really felt. And then also there was times where I knew, I was like, yeah, I already know. And my intuition would confirm, like, yeah, girl, you knew. And so getting really comfortable with my intuition was really helpful in making things be so much easier in life. And number 30, you are inherently worthy because you exist. You cannot self improve your way to worthiness. I have a video on this and I will tag it. I had a very deep belief that I needed to self improve my way to being worthy for all the things that I want. And that's not what self improvement is for. It's not to self improve your way to being worthy of this. You are self improving yourself to feel better and to have more tools at your disposal to navigate this thing called life. It's not to prove that you are worthy of the things that you want, it is just to help make your journey, make your life experience more enjoyable when you have these resources and these tools and this knowledge that you can pull on and use at your convenience. It's like a tool belt. Self improvement, it's a tool belt. It's not necessarily what gives you the right. You are inherently worthy of whatever you want because you are here. We are all here for this human experience and we are all here to do something and contribute things. And we have value and are worthy of whatever we desire just because we exist. And that was so important for me to understand that because I was just trying to self improve and work my way to being worthy of the things that I don't have to prove to anybody that I am worthy of. And there's a difference between self confidence and self worth. When you start building the habits and doing the things, you are building self confidence. When you are getting the accolades, when you are getting the success you want, that builds your confidence. But that worthiness needs to be there at all times, no matter what's going on. Even when, you post that content and nobody sees it, when you drop that book and nobody buys it, whatever, the self worth never changes because you are always worthy. Think about any of the artists who like work never sold when they were alive. I feel like that might have been Vincent Van Gogh. Maybe he was one of them. But anyways, think about those people who things didn't pop until they were dead or hundreds of years later. And it was like, were they worthy when they were here at that time, even though nobody acknowledged that worthiness? Yes, they were. So we are inherently worthy. And I do have a quick couple bonus ones I do want to share because, like, why not? They were important. All right, the first one. Ask yourself why more. You have to dig into why you do the things that you do. If you're not asking yourself why, if you're not doing the shadow work, inner work, it's so important so that you can get to the root of why you do the things you do, why you do the destructive habits. Why are you always worried? Why are you having so many fears? Why are you not pushing yourself to do the things that you want to do and be the person that you want to be? Dig into the why. And then you say, why haven't you posted the content? Oh, because I don't want people to see me. Why don't you want people to see me? I don't want people to see me because I don't like being perceived. Why don't you like being perceived? Because then I think people will judge me. Why don't you want to be judged? Oh, because I think that when people judge me, they'll realize that I'm kind of weird and that I actually like blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to dig into the why. Why do you do the things that you do so that you can make better choices and get out of the automatic programming of why you are doing the habits or the behaviors that you're currently doing that you don't like. Next, it's not a test, it's confirmation of who you are. And I am editing a video for this right now, so it should be done and I will tag that here. But I had a weird feeling about when people would say like, oh, it's a test, God's testing you. And I just didn't like that wording. And I think it's because when we think of a test, we think of something that's trying to, we think about this 30-minute test. If you don't get it right here, right now on this test, like you failed the semester or whatever. And I think that's why I didn't like tests. But now I look at it as it's not a test. It's just a confirmation of who you are. You say that you want to be $1 million earner. Well, are you confirming the habits? Are you confirming the behavior and the identity of somebody that's $1 million earner? When you have the choice to go out and party 5 nights in a row or to stay in and work on your business, which do you choose? Are you confirming that old identity or the new one? When you say you want to be an early bird, do you wake up early? When you say you want to be fit, do you go to the gym? Are you confirming that you are fit by going to the gym? It's not a test. When your ex calls you, it's not a test. It's just a confirmation of who you are. Are you that old girl that still messes with her ex? Or are you someone that's looking for her husband? It's just a confirmation. It's not that serious. And also, when you don't pass the test or you don't confirm the new identity that one moment, that's okay because there's always going to be more opportunities to confirm it. That doesn't mean stay in the old energy forever, but it also doesn't require all that shame and that, oh my God, I failed today. It doesn't require all that when you can just choose to make a better choice next time. It's like showing your ID at the club. They got to confirm who you are for you to get in. That's all. It's just confirmation. And you let them know. They don't feel no way. It's not like, oh, okay, it's just they got to know. You can't get to that other timeline. You can't experience these other things if you are not that. Next, you can collapse timelines and compress time when you understand that everything in life is energetics. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we always think that it's like a time thing, like, oh, I need to post consistently for 8 months and then I will magically, be an influencer or whatever. If you focus on embodying what it means to be an influencer, embodying what it means to be a content creator, you're going to get there so much faster because you're not thinking you're on the journey of becoming that, or I'm on the road to that. I am that. I am that today, right now, as I sit here. And that is going to help things move along a lot faster when you embody it. Be, do, have, embody it, and it'll all happen so much faster. Ooh, I love this one. You don't have an issue with consistency. You're just consistent at your bad habits. When I heard this, I fell to the floor because it's not about you having to learn consistency. You already are consistent. You consistently put those chips in your basket every time you go to the grocery store. You consistently order a pizza, okay, every week. Like whatever it is, I order a pizza every week, so it's no judgment. But you are consistent, but you have to just decide that you're going to be consistent with the good habits, with the habits that you want to have. And that's really the shift. It's not about, I need to be consistent. I don't have consistency. You have consistency. You're just consistent at the bad habits. All right, I think this is the last one. Manifestation should not be a crutch, it's a tool. And I realized this one because I talked about this in another video, but basically, whenever I wasn't sure that I could make something happen, that's when I would say that I'm manifesting. That's when I'm like, I gotta manifest this experience, I gotta manifest this, whatever. And it was my manifestation wasn't because I was just getting into alignment with the thing it is. Because really now I realize that manifestation is just you declaring what you want and then taking the action when you are inspired to take the action, when you are led to take the aligned action. But to me, manifestation, I'm like, okay, I got to do this magic routine so that I can get what I want because I don't trust that it's just going to come to me. And so you don't want manifestation to be a crutch because in that inherently you using it as a crutch because you don't think you're capable, you're therefore saying you're not ready or you doubt that you can have whatever it is that you want. So don't look at manifestation as this crutch when you want something you feel is too big for you to have. Manifestation is just literally, it's just you declaring what you want and then waiting, letting it go, and then waiting for the inspired action so that you can receive whatever it is that you want. It's not some hocus pocus thing. It's just a tool. And I think that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm so excited to be 30 and stepping into this new era of my life. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Bye, guys.